Today's lesson is on finding square roots. A square root of a number is a number that when multiplied by itself equals the given number. Every positive number has a positive and a negative square root. A perfect square is a number with integers as its square roots. This symbol is called a radical sign. It is used to represent a square root. The number under the radical sign is called the radicand. Now we're going to look at finding square roots of a perfect square. So we're going to find the two square roots of the number. So for number 1, we have 36. We need to find a number that when multiplied by itself equals 36. And that would be 6, because 6 times 6 equals 36. We can also say negative 6, because negative 6 times negative 6 equals 36 as well. So our two square roots are 6 and negative 6. Now for number 2, we have 100. So we need to figure out a number that when multiplied by itself equals 100. And that would be 10, because 10 times 10 equals 100. We can also say negative 10, because negative 10 times negative 10 equals 100. So our two square roots of 100 are 10 and negative 10. And now for number 3, we have 121. 11 times 11 equals 121. And negative 11 times negative 11 equals 121. So our two square roots would be 11 and negative 11. Now we're going to find the square root or square roots for each of the following problems. So for number 4, we have negative times the square root of 1. Since we have a negative sign out in front, we just want the negative square root for this answer. We need to figure out what number multiplied by itself gives us 1. That number is 1. So 1 squared, 1 times 1 equals 1. Now to find the square root of 1 squared, we just have 1. And then we want to make sure we have the negative out in front, because it would be a negative answer, or negative 1. Now for number 5, we have plus or minus the square root of 4/25. For this problem, we want to find both the positive and the negative square roots. A number multiplied by itself to give us 4 would be 2. 2 times 2 equals 4. And for 25, 5 times 5 equals 25. So we can change this to the square root of 2/5 squared. So we have plus or minus the square root of 2/5 squared. Now the square root of 2/5 squared is just 2/5. And we want plus or minus, means we want positive and negative. So our answers would be 2/5 and negative 2/5. And now for number 6, we have the square root of 12 and 25 hundredths. Since we do not have any signs out in front of this square root, we just want the positive answer. 12 and 25 hundredths is the same thing as 3 and 5/10 squared. So 3 and 5/10 times 3 and 5/10 is 12 and 25 hundredths. So we need to find the square root of 3 and 5/10 squared. The square root would then be 3 and 5/10. Now we're going to evaluate expressions involving square roots. So for number 7, we have 12 minus 3 times the square root of 25. "25 is the same thing as 5 squared. So the square root of 5 squared is just 5. So we have 12 minus 3 times 5. 3 times 5 is 15. So we have 12 minus 15, and 12 minus 15 is negative 3. For number 8, we have the square root of 28/7 plus 2 and 4/10. 28/7 is the same thing as 4. So we can change this to the square root of 4 plus 2 and 4/10. 4 is the same thing as 2 squared. So the square root of 2 squared then would just be 2, where the square root of 4 equals 2. So 2 plus 2 and 4/10. And when we add this up, we're going to get 4 and 4/10. And for number 9, we have 5 times the quantity, the square root of 49, minus 10. 49 is the same thing as 7 squared. So the square root of 49 would just be 7. So we have 5 times the quantity of 7 minus 10. 7 minus 10 is negative 3. So we have 5 times negative 3. And 5 times negative 3 is negative 15.